Alright, what's happening, people? You're in tune to the sounds of the gym on the Bangover show. It's total rock. This is Peng Shui. You better listen to it. And if you're not listening to it, you're stupid!
Hi, I'm Jim Saunders. Welcome to episode 25 of the Bangover. Thank you very much for listening, first of all. And also, apologies if you've been listening to the repeat of the last episode on Total Rock for about the last month. It's my bad, and so I've got to say sorry. The last episode I recorded back in September, put it out early October. It was an interview with a guy called Mike Cunniff, who plays guitar in a band called Boston Manor. Really nice guy, really interesting guy to interview. It worked really well with the kind of segments that I've tried to put in this radio show, finding more about the musician behind the music. It was fantastic. I didn't expect to have it played week in, week out for a month. The reason that's happened is because I've taken on a college course. I want to be a counsellor, so I'm training to be a counsellor, and unfortunately that takes up a lot of time, and something's got to give. And unfortunately it was the Bangover, it's the radio show. So that's why there hasn't been a show for like over a month. I do feel a bit bad, so apologies if I've let you down, if you've been listening every week and expecting to hear a new show every week and wondered what's happening. That's what's happened. So the good news is this is a new show. I finally got around to putting out episode 25. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to do a show as regularly as I was. You know, during the summer months, it was easy to put out a show a week. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it was easier because there were festivals. The summer's like festival crazy, isn't it? So I could go to a festival almost every weekend for the entire summer months in England. Go to a festival, interview maybe 6 bands, maybe 8 bands, maybe 12 bands over a weekend, and have loads of material for 2 or 3 shows subsequently, which is amazing, and it's great, and it's fun, and it's exciting. And the problem is, you know, summer finishes, autumn kicks in, and then the winter. The only place to go and see a band and get an interview with a band is by, you know, going to a show. So that's what I've got to do now, and I'm cool with it. You know, I don't mind, you know, but it's a whole evening for me. So I've obviously got to go travel to my nearest city, which is either Bristol or Birmingham, meet up with the band, interview them, and then go away and edit it. And editing it takes probably a couple of evenings to get a decent 2-hour show together. So that's like 3 evenings out of my week that's taken up by just putting this together. And don't get me wrong, I love it. And also, don't get me wrong, it shouldn't be about, you know, the reward in terms of money, because there isn't any for me doing this. This is voluntary, this is free, this is because I want to do it, because I like doing it. And it's not about the money, but I have got a mortgage to pay, I've got bills to pay, and I'm not really that content with my current job, and I want to change my career, and counselling is something I'm really interested in. It's what I want to do, and so really that has to take priority for me at the moment. So a bit of a long-winded explanation, but I just want you to know that I love doing this, and I love putting this show out. And for anybody that has been listening right from the start and still listens now, then thank you so much. And just, yeah, sorry that there hasn't been a new episode out for a month. But let's concentrate on the positives. Let's talk about the new episode. So today's episode 25, is centered around a band called Here Lies Man. They're from LA in the States, and the reason I've heard about them is because I received a promo copy of their album, You Will Know Nothing, came out earlier this year, and the tagline at the top of the email said, "Imagine if Black Sabbath played Afrobeat." And that just caught my attention because I love Black Sabbath, I love riffs, I love Tony Iommi. And Afrobeat is a musical style genre that I've not really I don't have much knowledge about. I've never really looked into it, listened to a lot of it. I'd heard the name, the phrase, but didn't know much about it. So it just piqued my interest. So I listened to the record and I fell in love with it. I thought it was really cool. And it reminded me of, it's not the same as, or anywhere near the same as really, but Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, who are on Rise Above Records, Lee Dorian's label, they put out an album called Bloodlust quite a few years ago now. And I loved that record. It was amazing. It's very Sabbath-esque, with a sort of B-movie horror kind of vibe running through it. And the reason I loved it is because when I put it on, it sounded like a record you could have found in your dad's collection, dusted it off, put it on, and been like, oh, this band are wicked from the 70s. But they're not from the 70s, they're from now. And it sounded vintage because they'd recorded it themselves on a 4-track or an 8-track. Well, Here Lies Man recorded their new album, You Will Know Nothing, in a very similar way. They did it themselves. They did it on a 4-track, 8-track, whatever it is. And it's just got that vintagey vibe that sounds like it was recorded back in the 70s. It just sounds cool. And there's a lot of riff worship in there. There's like just these hypnotic style riffs that you could totally imagine sort of Tony Iommi playing, really. But it's just done in this different kind of, I don't know, different way, because it's got this Afrobeat style thrown into it. So I just think that's super cool. I caught up with Marcos and Jeff at their show at the Hare and Hounds in Birmingham a few weeks back. So here's the interview. I hope you enjoy it.
TheBangover.net.
Marcus and Jeff from Here Lies Man, thank you very much for letting me join you in this wonderful green room.
Well, thanks for coming all the way out here to talk to us about who knows what.
No worries. No, it's a pleasure to be here. So, how are you guys doing today? How's things?
We're a little worse for wear, I think. To be honest, it's just the travel is. We're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
It's good though. I think all of us, to a certain degree, really had a good feeling once we, coming to the UK is always a good feeling. So it's.
Yeah, it kind of felt like once the agent stamped our passports, it was like, welcome back. It was like, it feels like, in a way, what I was telling Jeff, it feels like a home away from home.
Nice. And why does it feel like that? What is it about?
Because we're American, man. We speak the same language.
Very true.
Culturally, there's, we have everything in common.
Lots of similarities, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What are your favourite things about England then?
I can't actually get into those types of things, but I do like it here.
Well, Bangladeshi food.
Yes, we were talking about lovely curry that we've just been looking at. Yeah, good. Well done. I'm glad you're here. It's great. And you guys were actually here. You were telling me just before I started recording. You were back here in March, weren't you? Back in March. Yeah. How was that tour for you?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
We had some really great shows. Some unexpectedly good crowds.
It was eye-opening in that we learned how people became aware of us in the UK is through independent record stores and vinyl shops, and from just people that work in those stores playing the music and kind of just having customers listen and wonder what is that, and then becoming curious, and it was very organic. And I mean, I hope it's still continuing. But it definitely felt like the music was appreciated and understood here.
I love the fact that independent record stores have had a really big hand in you guys being able to be here and play and having crowds. Absolutely. I mean, what do you guys think about the sort of decline of the high street record store, for example, which is a thing that must be happening all over the world, I guess? You don't see as many record stores now as you maybe did.
Well, it happened in the US a while back.
Right,
So it's, to us, we come here and it's like, oh, what is this new wonderland of people actually going out to buy records? I mean, there's still record stores in, places in the US, and people go and they scour the used, the Salvation Army, which is like the used clothing.
Yes.
And, but it's a smaller and smaller group. It's not what it's not what a lot of people do for their musical choice.
Sure.
I've already chosen to forget the decline of the record store because that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you feel it happening here?
I think we've seen it quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere near as many record stores. Like just in my hometown specifically, record stores are closing.
Which is where?
I live in Malvern, so this is the home of C.S. Lewis, who wrote, the Narnia books and stuff like that. It looks very much like Hobbiton, where I am. And actually, I am quite lucky because we have got an independent...
So it's the most British place in the world.
You could argue.
Both the home of Narnia and Middle-earth.
Yeah, exactly, Middle-earth, it is. You guys would love it. It's very nice. If you're driving through tomorrow, I'll give you a tour. It's very nice. But we have got an independent record store there called Carnival, and it's been voted as one of the best ones in the country. So personally, I am quite lucky, even though the majority of the high street shops are closed. But in England, there aren't as many record stores.
But the culture of it is still...
Yes, it is.
The culture of buying and collecting audiophilia, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we don't have it at home. It just feels like here it's... I don't know, it just feels like it's thriving.
And Rough Trade were quite big supporters of you guys, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah? Was that quite nice to have them?
It was amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was amazing. And just, I don't even know what to say. Just, it's a great feeling to know that it's being appreciated. I mean, and not just by Rough Trade. I mean, Rough Trade obviously has such a great reputation. But like we were talking about, just all the independent record stores that have been carrying and promoting the music, you know.
Brilliant. And so you guys have come over from LA, but it's not where you guys were originally from, is it?
No.
Where are you guys originally from?
The two of us are from New York, New Jersey, tri-state area.
Cool.
I grew up in New York. Marcos grew up in New Jersey. I moved out to LA about 12 years ago.
Right.
And he moved out 3-ish, 2.5, 3 years ago.
So you guys met in New York?
Yes, we played together in Afrobeat band Antibalas.
Yeah.
That's how we knew each other.
Brilliant. So you bonded over a love for a similar style of music?
Yeah, I mean, we were both, I think, deeply steeped in that world for a long time.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why when Marcos started, the idea for this project and shared it with me, I think that's one of the reasons why it just it gelled, because we have a lot of very similar these musical backgrounds that we've just spent so much time with, and it's just there's certain language things that are not unique to Afrobeat, but are kind of specific to it, and it's not necessary to have that same language, but it sure is nice when he says something musically, and I just I know what the answer to that musical question is.
Yeah. So you really work together, you play off each other,
Yes.
bounce off each other kind of thing.
Yeah, there's just these like idiomatic kind of musical ideas that are particular, I think, not exclusive, but like you were saying, particular to the music. So yeah, it's like we always talk about it being like a circle, right? So it's like a wheel that's spinning, and there's all these little interlocking pieces. So that's kind of our experience of it.
How did you get into alternative music?
What about New York's music scene then? So you guys both grew up in New York. What was happening when you were younger, maybe in sort of like your teenage years, that got you guys inspired and onto this path of the kind of music style that you play now?
Would you like to start?
What? I'm sorry. What? One more time.
That was quite a complicated sort of question there, wasn't it? It was quite lengthy.
What
so,
were you listening to? What?
Yeah, I guess like in your teenage years in New York, what was happening, or what were you listening to at the time that sort of started you off on this path of, this kind of alternative music that you play now?
The thing is, we both grew up in the music business in a way.
Ah.
Our families.
Right.
So by teenage years, I was listening to punk music.
Oh, cool. What kind of bands? What sort of stuff was?
I don't know, just GBH and like Minor Threat and just everything.
Cool.
I'm a street boy. Jim, what's happening? It's the Bangover show. Play some bangers, bruv.
And that was it. Was that your family quite a musical family?
No. I mean, I grew up in the Latin music world. My dad was a record producer, and I grew up around like Latin music.
Wow.
But I have always loved funky and rhythmic music, and when I was a kid, it was Michael Jackson and Rick James, Evelyn Champagne King.
Nice.
Disco era stuff. I mean, I'm 44, so I got exposed to a lot of stuff that.
And then after the punk stuff, so you got into punk, and then
everything,
what?
Man,
just
jazz,
everything.
Country, Afro-Cuban music, West African music.
So
we devour music because we just love music. There's I guess when you're younger, you have.
Ideals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he grew up in the jazz world, you talk about that.
So what's your backstory?
So,
then?
my dad was the jazz flutist Herbie Mann.
Right, okay.
So that was kind of like, I grew up with his music a lot, and when I was young, he was doing a lot of fusion and then got into like Brazilian music, so I grew up around a lot of that. When I started playing music on my own, I was doing kind of more straight ahead jazz and classic rock because that's what I enjoy. Classic rock because that's what I wanted, and then I wanted to play like all my favorite classic rock drummers, and I realized they didn't study rock, they studied jazz. So if I wanted to play like John Bonham and Ginger Baker, I had to study jazz, not rock. And then that shifted into me doing all that. And getting into this music was just the people, really, because then I started playing like more kind of free jazz and out shit. and I met other musicians and, you know, started making these connections, and some of those people were the ones who got me into playing, or people who played in Antibalas, who are like the horn section players. So it was kind of the personalities that exposed me to the music, and it kind of, when I first heard Afrobeat, it just kind of blew me away, and it was one of the few times that I can remember in my life that I really just like turned my concept of what music is upside down. So of course I had to get into it to find out what this thing was that was so different from my normal concept of rhythm and how things work, but so accessible at the same time.
What made you start playing?
And what made you pick up sticks in the first place? Just out of curiosity. Was there a particular band or drummer?
I had been going, I was always into like art and things like that, and I was going to an art camp, and I remember I was just tapping on things all the time, and I just decided one day, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll study drums this time around, and I just tried it, and it came relatively easily. So I just went the easy path.
That's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go, oh, I'm quite good at that.
I didn't have a talent for sports, but I had to go with what I could do.
And what made you pick up the guitar?
I don't know, actually. I was 7 years old and my mom sent me to lessons. I mean, I had piano lessons before that.
Okay.
Starting when I was like 5. She sent me to guitar lessons at like 7, and then the teacher, oh man, this was like classic Jersey guitar teacher with the curly hair, mullet type of thing at the music store. And he asked me if I was right-handed or left-handed, and the curious thing is that I am left-handed, but I play right-handed. Like, there's things that I do with my left, there's things that I do with my right.
Wow.
So he flipped the guitar upside down, and I tried to play it, and it just felt completely just strange. And because I think whenever I would pick it up at home, I would pick it up like a righty, but he flipped it on me, and I was too young to advocate for my left-handedness, I guess. So, but with a twist. So I don't know why. I mean, it was just part of my parents really wanted me to do it, and it all felt very. I mean, I didn't really find like that I could express myself through music until I was 12.
Right. Okay.
Before that, I'd been taking lessons,
doing what they tell you to do and parrot fashioning and stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, it's not like I didn't like it. I did like it.
Right.
You know? But I don't know that if they weren't musical people, if they would have, maybe I would have sought it out. I don't know.
And so bands at the time, were there anything like when you're learning how to play guitar, you're learning how to play drums early on, were there particular bands that you guys were really into back in your teenage years that really sort of started?
I really loved Billy Brown.
Oh, right, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I listened to his music over and over again, and just the way he strummed the guitar. But I also, loved the Smiths and
Nice.
a lot of British music.
I was 21 years when I wrote this song. I'm 22 now, but I won't be for long. People ask me when will you grow up to be a man, but all the girls I loved at school are already pushing prams. I loved you then as I love you still. Though I put you on a pedestal, they put you on the pill. I don't feel bad about letting you go, I just feel sad about letting you know. I don't want to change the world, I'm not looking for a New England, I'm just looking for another girl. another girl. I love the words you wrote to me, but that was bloody yesterday. I can't survive on what you send every time you need a friend. I saw 2 shooting stars last night, I wished on them, but they were only satellites. It's wrong to wish on space hardware. I wish you'd care. I don't want to change the world, I'm not looking for New England, I'm just looking for another girl. I don't want to change the world, I'm not looking for New England, I'm just looking for another girl. Looking for another girl, looking for another girl, looking for another girl.
You're listening to Jim Saunders on Total Rock.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and the young and the light. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see life. Driving in your car, oh please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home and I'm welcome no more. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Take me out tonight, take me anywhere, don't care, don't care, don't care. And in the darkened underpass, I thought, oh God, my chance has come at last. But then a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. Take me out tonight, oh take me anywhere, don't care, don't care, don't care. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one all along. Oh, I haven't got one. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side
What was it about British music that appealed to you at the time?
You know, in hindsight, when I came here, Antibalas was here in like 2005.
Right.
And we spent like 5 days in Manchester.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever been there. And I finally understood the music that I loved as a child. Because the common thread is that it's super gloomy. And Manchester felt super gloomy those 5 days that we were there. And I identified with it, you know? And, you know, I grew up in the Reagan era. You guys were in the Thatcher era, so...
Yeah.
The feeling culturally was the same, I think.
Bleak.
But you guys really captured it sonically.
I like that. That's really cool. It's brilliant.
It's great. I mean, you gave voice to a feeling that, you know, we had culturally.
Wow. That's great. And what about you then, Jeff? So when you're playing drums,
I mean, when I first
teenager?
started, I started probably around 8, and you know, Beatles and Zeppelin, classic rock was kind of what was the initial force. I would come home from school every day and like put on my headphones and like, you know, play through Sgt. Pepper front to back and just play along with it, and that was pretty much how I practiced for, you know, the first number of years of my drumming.
Do you rate Ringo Starr as a drummer?
I love Ringo's drumming.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Cool.
I am, yeah. I don't need to expand on that. I love his drumming.
Because I think even John Lennon didn't even think he was the best drummer in the Beatles, did he?
Right.
Quite famously.
Yes.
poor old Ringo.
I think he's fantastic.
See, I think we come from a school of thought that like, if the playing is speaking to you
And is serving the music,
and it's serving the music,
then there's
who
no...
can be better than that?
Right.
It's very true.
Someone who can play
Yeah.
a bunch of shit all over it, like, and like some
Unnecessary.
technical things,
Sure.
like that's not better, that's...
Yeah, that's not
That's
serving
worse.
the
It's
music.
taking something away
Exactly.
from the bigger picture, right? Yeah.
I mean, he could support and propel the band, and propel not in some flashy way, but in a really emotive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that
it's
is
so melodic.
that's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played the exact right thing for that music.
Yes. Well, if he's listening to this, I very much doubt Ringo Starr will be tuning in, but I'm sure he'll be very happy at what we've just said.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
What would you think if I sang out a tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. Gonna try with a little help from my friends.
Anti-Ballast, let's talk about that. Because I would imagine people that are going to be listening to this may not know of that band as well. So, in summary, how did that band come about, and what was the sound like? And
Anti-Ballast formed in 1998,
right,
in New York. Martin Perna was the man that founded it. At the time, he was I think he was 23.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. And it became, shortly after its founding, this kind of loose, kind of anarchic musical collective that, according to his vision, he wanted it to be Afrobeat based on, Fela's music, and Latin kind of funk based on New York big band Latin type of stuff.
Right.
Like Harlem River Drive and that sound. As musicians gravitated toward the collective, the band went decidedly in the direction of West African funk. And, yeah, it's a 12-piece band. It's been around for 20 years. I'm still playing guitar.
There was a cowboy named Coloma from a town called Gold Town, now Ghost Town. Coloma asked Chief Two Eagles, where did we go wrong? The Susan dancer, all the nations rush take over land that beat us up, rush onto weapon of the spaceman, of controlling of our resources, rush take over land that beat us all. When I think of gold, Sundance has been booked in my heart. The Susan dancer, all the nations. Back when 1804, every time you shake, yeah, taking up warrior, who resist the big gun, who get big gun back then. General Edmund begins, him get big gun then. Back when 1832, by the Black Hawk War, who benefit from this war?
you're still in that. How did you get into that originally? How did it come about that you joined that?
Well, Gabe Roth, who was playing guitar, had the chair.
Yeah.
He had double booked a Dap Kings show in 2003.
Right.
And looked over at me and was like, "You play guitar? Can you cover for me?" And so the next night I went in and I didn't know any of the songs whatsoever. But Luke, the other guitar player, would kind of sing me the parts. And the way the music works is there's single note guitar parts, and they're usually just like a short little phrase. So you can sing the part, and that's going to be the part you're going to play for the next 15 minutes.
Oh, right.
So is that why you became the tenor guitar guy? Because you learned because just you happened to need to learn things quick? Because he couldn't really sing you the rhythm guitar part.
No.
So that's why you're the tenor guitar guy, basically.
I mean, we used to trade off on tenor and rhythm, but I gravitate towards the tenor lines. I mean, the rhythm parts are nice too, but the tenor part barks and like is talking.
Yeah.
At least the way my intention of when I play it is for it to talk.
Sort of dig into the strings a bit and let it.
Yeah, but it's just more like it's the phrasing,
Right.
Because that's what I'm attracted to, is kind of like these little shapes that you just repeat over and over again, and they're kind of meditative.
Nice. Goes in sort of looping kind of.
Yeah, and in this music, in our music, what I'm able to do that I don't do in traditional kind of Afrobeat is like I move the shapes around and let it kind of speak in counter rhythm to what the bass is doing.
Right. So this is a channel for you to be able to experiment further.
Yeah.
With a genre and a style that you love to play anyway.
Yeah.
But can maybe find a bit restricted.
Keep a rhythmic vocabulary happening.
Right.
But we are really have stretched beyond. Well, we could probably we'll keep stretching it. What Afrobeat is.
Sure.
Because they're really rhythmic concepts. You can use them in any aesthetic. I think that's what I've learned over the course of the so many years I've played it, the music.
Saunders, The Bangover, Total Rock.
Yo, Jim, what's happening? It's the Bangover show. Play some bangers, bruv.
You want that body?
because I find it super interesting. So I play both drums and I play guitar. I couldn't play what you guys play. It blows my fucking mind. I think it's incredible. I'll have to bleep that one out, won't I? Oops, but anyway. But yeah, I think it's amazing. Like, I love what you guys do. And when I heard it, when I got the promo copy, your latest album through, I was like, what the hell is this? I hadn't heard anybody do quite what you guys were doing. It sounded really, really different and really unique. And I just thought it sounded original. And I like that tagline, you know, what if Black Sabbath played Afrobeat? And I can hear that kind of Sabbath classic rock-esque, sometimes riffs in there, but in that Afrobeat style. And it's just, it's great.
Well, I think that's what, you know, the realization, I don't want to speak for Marcos, but like those things, you know, the Sabbath kind of riff stuff and the Afrobeat are not really that far apart.
Right.
It's like the sonic approach to how they're performed is very different. But if you take the Afrobeat and you put a lot of distortion on it, it starts to sound, I mean, I don't know if you want to tell the story, you know.
Of playing Yellow Fever?
Yeah, just, you know.
Yeah, we were in the
telling that
studio Antipolis was in the studio in 2005 recording an album called Security.
Right.
And I was playing Yellow Fever, the tenor guitar line. And it's like that's it.
Right.
And you just playing it over and over again. But as a tenor guitar player, I look for different ways of emphasizing parts of the phrase that changes the accent of it.
Yeah.
And then I could hear all of a sudden I was like, and I just, I thought about Black Sabbath and I thought about Tony Iommi playing this. And it was just like, ting.
The light bulb moment.
Well, because I realized that it's, like I said before, Afrobeat is a set of like rhythmic concepts.
Yeah.
I guess all music is. There's just these idiomatic ways of arranging rhythms according to the clave.
Yeah.
And it's based on high life, and there's jazz, and there's funk, and there's Afro-Cuban influences. There's all of those things.
Yeah.
You know, and the tenor guitar in Afrobeat it's just playing riffs.
Which
riff is
love.
a riff.
Riffs are
you know,
great.
a riff is a riff. It just depends on how loud you play it. And for us, it's loud, you know?
Gonna do. Time's caught up with you. Now you wait your turn. You know there's no return. Take your empty road. You join the other fools. Turn to something new. Now it's killing you. First it was the bomb. Vietnam, Nepal. Disillusioning. You push the needle in. From like you escape. Reality's like face. Colors in your mind. starts spinning round. You fall down to the ground. Feel your body heave. Death hand starts to weave.
And that's the beauty of Sabbath, isn't it? I mean, they were a riff-based band. I mean, it was all based on the riff, and even Ozzy would be singing the riff a lot of the time. You know, the melody would follow the guitar riff. So, is that how you guys would write a song these days? You know, for the latest album, was it that the riff comes first? Do you come up with a guitar riff?
Yeah, I mean, for this album, the process is always a little bit different when I'm doing any album. But for this album, I was living in Hollywood, kind of felt like I was in exile in Hollywood, and I just wrote it all on my Harmony Rocket. Most of it just kind of, I don't know, the ideas were just coming, and I would record them as iPhone memos, and then, you know, got in the studio with Jeff and started playing, you know, the ideas. And like I said, like, if I'm playing a certain rhythm, he's going, because he understands the idiom that we speak, right, he's going to respond in this way that answers the riff.
Sure.
And then we kind of play through things and arrange it and kind of decide what the overall shape of the riffs and the song, quote unquote, is. And that's how it gets. That's how the sausage gets made.
Nice. So on the new album, what would be your favourite track? Have you both got a favourite track each?
I don't remember what songs are on that album.
I don't know if that's you can, it changes, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really listen to the albums after they're done. Any album that I've ever made.
Put it out and then just try and forget that it's...
Well, I don't try to forget. I mean, I will. The thing that I've done my whole career is make musical references to other pieces. Like the whole kind of musical universe that I exist in.
Yeah.
There are there's cross-referencing going on throughout the whole body of work.
Right.
And sometimes I'm referring to something that I didn't write, but I'll be responding to it.
I see.
And that would be the only kind of reference that I could only understand, most likely.
Right, okay.
And then there's other things that I'm just quoting, just motifs.
Do you ever get people come to you, people who are fans of your music, and they know? Do they spot these things?
I don't think anyone does.
No?
It's particular to my neuroses.
So, how did you get into Antebellus then, mate? We didn't cover that.
Like I said, it was just personalities, people I knew. I don't remember who first asked me to come sit in. It might have been Jordan McLean, the trumpet player.
Yeah.
Because I had known him, and I also knew Aaron Johnson, the trombonist, pretty well. I don't remember what the first thing was, but I knew their Shekere player had been doing these other gigs and had been like needing a sub for long stretches of time, so I think they were looking for somebody, and I the first time I played with them was in Maxwell's. It was a club in Jersey.
Nice.
Yep. I didn't really know what to expect, and they just kind of showed up, and they said, okay, you're just going to play either this or you're going to play this, and just don't stop until the song's over. And it just grew from there.
Do you still play in Antebellus?
Every now and then. I think the last time I played a show with them might have been 3 or 4 years ago in Japan. But we still do some production work.
Sure.
We mixed the last album that came out, where the Gods Are in Peace. Is that what it's called? We mixed that for them, and we've done some smaller, like one-off tunes with them, remixes and things like that. So.
money, oh. Dirty money, not the fruit. Dirty money, oh. Dirty money, not the fruit. Oh yeah. A man go drowning in the river. He call his brother, save me now. His brother showed up in the copter. He toss him coin with not the fruit. Dirty money, oh.
No water.
Dirty dirty money not the fruit. Dirty, not dirty money, oh. Dirty money not the fruit. The mango hanging from our window. They call him Uncle Benny now. Uncle toss him rope of money. The money break, the mango fall. Ow! Dirty, not dirty money, oh. Dirty money not go hold up. I say, oh, dirty, not dirty money, oh. Dirty money not the fruit, oh.
And so when you moved to LA, had this band been formed at that point?
Oh no, this band wasn't formed until
we got together
3 years ago.
3 years ago in LA.
In LA, yeah.
And did you move from New York to LA for that purpose to set up a band, or was it just you went?
I mean, that was what that's what I was. My intention.
That was the intention that drove that decision to move.
Well, I don't know if it drove the decision to move. There were a few things that drove it.
Right.
But basically, yeah, my intention was to finally put this band together. And I tried in New York, but it just didn't really clicked. You know? I think what's really core is just that there's a musical connection that we have.
Yeah.
That I know that there were times when I was, doing my solo electronic music career that I imagined, like, I wish I just had the other person that I clicked with, that we could just go, like, could do the things that I couldn't do.
Sure.
And that where there was like a musical chemistry that allowed us to just do a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I found that with him, with Mr. Jeff Mann right over there.
Right over here.
So you're almost like the Lennon and McCartney of the Afrobeat world.
Well, you want that, right? I think anyone that writes music wants to have their Lennon or McCarthy. McCartney.
You just ruined the UK for us.
Lennon or McCartney.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's I think no matter how great anybody is at artistic expression, if you can have someone you trust to bounce your ideas off of, I think the ideas only get better can only get better by collaboration in a situation where there's musical trust.
Yeah.
When there's people who do great work by themselves, but when they can really like say, oh, what about this? And someone's like, yeah, maybe part of that, but then what if we do this with that? And then instead of, you really can trust people to believe in what you're doing and take it and then throw it back at you, and you throw it back and forth, and it really creates something that's kind of greater than what any one person could do on their own. So yeah, that's what you always hope for.
Do you guys ever have an issue where you do need to say, I'm not cool about, I don't think that's great, we should change it? Have you got that relationship where...
Musically?
That's never, ever happened.
No?
I'm joking.
Musically, I don't think musically, as far as like musical ideas.
No, not in terms of musical ideas.
In terms of arrangement things, when we're working on the production of the albums and stuff.
Sure.
there's things that, you know, I might feel strongly about or he feels more strongly about, but I think we have a pretty healthy kind of balance of, it's because it is trust, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like, the trust is the thing at play.
And can we talk about, you mentioned production. Can we talk about production? Because was this recorded, did I read right, it was recorded on a Tascam 8-track?
Yeah, part of it, yeah. The basic tracks were all done to the Tascam 388, and then there were digital overdubs.
A bit later in another studio kind of thing, or?
No.
Or was it in the same studio?
It's all the same studio.
It's all the same studio, oh cool.
Same room, a little bit bigger than this room.
Amazing! That's brilliant. Yeah. So live drums in a small room like this.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger than this kind of thing.
But yeah.
That's ace. And was there a reason why you guys wanted? So you obviously did it yourselves, or was there another engineer?
No, it was us.
DIY.
We had some.
Yeah. Why would you want another engineer? Right?
We had we had some additional mixing. The first record was mixed by Jeremy Page,
in New York,
and he did some pre-mixing of the second record. But yeah, we just we did it ourselves because that
We
was
argued over every frequency
yeah.
in the spectrum.
There's too much
Every
1.5K
single
there.
one.
yeah.
Just kidding.
But I think we're both just used to that. You know, it didn't really seem like why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah.
There wasn't really it didn't seem like a compelling reason to do it a different way. We did the first record basically that way. We didn't mix up the first record ourselves, but it seemed to make sense to just continue just in our room with our stuff and our mics and
it seems like it's going to continue that way.
yeah.
For now.
What did you learn from the first record that maybe you did differently this time for the new record?
I mean, my idea for the first record was really like a proof of concept.
Right.
You know, a lost recording. There wasn't a whole lot of emphasis on developing more than like just the proof of the concept.
Sure.
And so the second record the concept's been established. In my mind, I wanted to hear what, with time, having more time to flesh out kind of the sonic landscape, where we could go. And that's what we did. We kind of, when I did the keyboards, I think I had like 7 or 8 electric pianos and organs set up, and then I would just double the parts on different keyboards and make it sound the way it sounds.
So you had the ability to experiment a lot more.
Yeah, whereas for the first record I would kind of design the organ sound that I wanted and then just hit record.
Right.
Do that.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt because
go on, mate.
I should be out at the watching the merch
merch,
table.
right?
Because I think the first band's already started and people are already in there.
In that case,
Oh,
mate,
really?
shall I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the doors have been open for a while.
It's 8:15.
Yeah.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks very much. If there was a particular track for me to play from the new record, is there any particular one, or just let me choose whatever?
Yeah, choose what you like.
Choose
All
what you
right.
like, yeah, for sure.
Cool. And what's next? Is there any plans for another record anytime
The
soon?
next one's coming out early next year.
Oh wow!
It's an EP.
Right. Okay.
And it's kind of some other, I guess, more cinematic type pieces that
Okay.
were from the recording session of You Don't Know Nothing.
Yeah.
And then the next one after that is demoed out.
Right.
And we have to record it.
Wow, I'm looking forward to hearing that as well, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers, lads, for taking the time. That was brilliant.
so
Thank you very much, man. Really interesting. Thank you. And that's the end of the interview with Marcos and Jeff from Here Lies Man. They were very kind to speak to me for as long as they did. I didn't really give them an idea of what I was trying to achieve. I probably should have warned them that I wanted to speak to them for about 45 minutes. The poor guys were super jet lagged. They'd just flown in from LA. So they did really well. And I'm very grateful for them for taking the time. The show was amazing as well. I got their vinyl, got a wicked t-shirt. They got some great merch, got an awesome pin badge. If you get the chance to go see them live, go do it. They're fantastic. Really brilliant show. There's like a hypnotic vibe that happens at their live show. I spoke to Marcos for a little bit longer after we turned the microphones off, and we talked about how he tries to make the live experience something that the crowd, the audience, has to participate in to make the vibe happen. Really interesting. We were talking a lot about frequencies and things to make people feel something. So yeah, fantastic band, great live, well worth going to check out if you can. We're almost at the end of the show, but I've got a couple more tracks to play. Here's another one by Here Lies Man.
You're listening to Jim Saunders on Total Rock.
They really are too. Thanks very much, Mr. Clark.
If you've listened to the show right from the beginning, you will have heard me mention that the reason I liked Here Lies Man so much is because it reminded me of when I first heard Bloodlust by Unclassed and the Deadbeats. Totally different bands, but I think the way that the music's recorded on 4 tracks, 8 tracks, whatever, gives it that vintage vibe. Plus Unclassed are Sabbath worshippers as well. So here's a track by them. This is from Bloodlust. This is I'll Cut You Down. that's the end of the show. Thank you very much for listening to episode 25 of The Bangover. I've been Jim Saunders. This show's going to play out probably throughout the whole of December, so you might not be getting an episode 26 until January. So in that case, have a lovely Christmas. Enjoy the festive period. Remember, go get Here Lies Man's album, You Will Know Nothing. It's out on Riding Easy Records. It's brilliant. If you can catch them live, go check them out. They're sick live. And I'll leave you with one last track. This is my favourite song from their album. This is Fighting. Thanks for listening. Take care.